it's tough to pick a username. Like
Yeah.
maybe in hindsight, I would have tried to just get my own name. Took that Stay Gold Ponyboy line, threw the color gray on it, and I'm stuck with it now.
I
And
like it.
there's too much equity.
Thank you for being a pal.
Hey pals, and welcome back to another week of Pentool Pals. I'm Cole from Cole F Design.
And I'm Canvas Cam from Canvas Design Company. Welcome back to the podcast.
Thanks so much for joining us on episode 13. Unlucky 13, Cam.
Unlucky 13. But unlike Lincoln Design Company, we're going to claim it. We're going to claim 13.
Absolutely. Well, with a lot of luck, we were able to score an epic guest on the show today, Matt Dawson from Stay Gray Ponyboy. I've been a huge fan of his work forever, so I'm super stoked to sit down and chat with him.
Yeah, dude. We've been chatting with Matt about getting him on the podcast for a few weeks, and the scheduling just kind of worked in our favor. So today we're recording. It's going to be a great episode full of stories. Matt, Stay Gray Ponyboy, has been an Instagram page that I've looked at for years for inspiration because his work is that good. His badge work is something that it's just so clean that I gravitate to it. So I'm really excited to get him on and talk to him about, where he started, where Stay Gray Ponyboy came from. And it's going to be a spectacular podcast.
Absolutely. I mean, I would go as far to say that his badge work is perfect. I mean, It has this unity and balance to it that I've admired for quite a while now. So going to pick his brain about that and hear a bit more of his story.
Hell yeah. Well, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Stay Gray Ponyboy and transition. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, Matt Dawson, Stay Gray Ponyboy. Woo! How you doing, man?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Fantastic.
Well, thanks so much for joining us and taking the time. Apologize for the time difference. We are from the East. We're from West Coast, so 2-hour difference. We got caught off guard by the 6 o'clock timeline. So that's what ended up happening when you're like, if we needed a schedule, we're like, oh no, we're good. We got this.
We're like, we thought we had 2 more hours.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Oh, dang. Okay. Yeah. The time zone thing. Yeah. No, it's all good. Hopefully I'm not taking you guys away from anything at the moment.
I think
right now.
as a designer yourself, that like when work needs to get done, it doesn't matter really what time of the day is. And we also get to be the ones to, if we want to sleep until noon and do the work at 8 o'clock at night or midnight, then we'll do that too, or other way around, vice versa. So
that was me this morning. I worked super late last night so I could sleep in till 10. It was fantastic. Slept with my puppy right here, and he was just snoring in my ear. It was great.
Nice. Yeah, I get so much more stuff done at night than I do during the day. Yeah. It's just the world's so much quieter, and much more of a night owl than a early morning person.
At least at that point, your clients don't expect you to respond, and you're not getting calls. So at least that like after a certain period of time, no one's going to be like bugging you. So that can just let you drift off into the design that you're working on and maybe spend a little extra more time and get the TLC it needs.
Yeah,
totally. Yeah. And you can like schedule the email to send at like 6:22. So they're just like, oh damn, look at this guy. He's up early.
He's up early.
Bruce and,
I have never done that, but I think I'm gonna try that next.
Can you share with us that tip and how you can schedule emails at a certain period of time?
Yeah, you can. You just need an email scheduler, and you can. If you finish something at 1 o'clock in the morning, instead of looking like a dirt bag that finished it at the last minute, you can. You can. Is
this email scheduler a real person that you hired on the side to wake up and like whip at 6 a.m. or is this like a platform that you find online?
No, it's just in different email clients for I guess they have them for like iOS and Android, but like I just use them for Mac OS. think Airmail does it, Edison does it,
Nice.
a handful of different email clients. But yeah, it's super nice for like scheduling something, and that way, like, I don't know, I also go back in every now and then and just check it like right before it's scheduled to send and make sure, I didn't say anything stupid or misspell anything whenever I was like super tired and finishing it up.
For sure.
I feel that.
Absolutely. Is there a project you've been working on recently that you're stoked about that's letting you burn the midnight oil and send those emails out at 6 a.m.?
Like I was mentioning a bit ago when we hopped on before the show. We've got a handful of things happening right now. There's some fun stuff in the pipeline for sure. I work with this outdoor apparel company, and they're starting a coffee brand. So I'm kind of in the throes of getting that ideated right now, and doing the bags and everything, along with the identity. So I don't know. I love beverage branding. If it's coffee, if it's beer.
You're very good at it.
You are very good at it.
I appreciate that.
And on top of that, we've talked on multiple times on the show is how like I feel like so many designers also love creating beverages, especially coffee and beer. So seeing your profile and seeing your work and having that be a part of your portfolio has always stood out to me, and you definitely crush it.
Thanks, man. I feel like I don't get to do it as often, as other people get to. Like, you see some people, it's just like, damn, man, like they're just doing nothing but coffee and beer, but they're probably doing a bunch of shit in between. They're just showing us the coffee and beer.
Yeah.
But it's a fun space to design in. But yeah, I've got that stuff going on. I'm also making that same client a proprietary camouflage pattern, which is
nice.
easily the toughest design challenge I've ever had in like career. It's like, how the hell do you make, a unique and like proprietary camo for like this company? Like it's weird. So that's been like a big I don't know, that's been like a big learning process for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So how does sorry to cut you off. I was going to ask, what does your design process look like? Do you start with sketching, or are you one to go straight to digital?
I mostly go straight to digital, which a lot of people don't like or don't agree with. They think you should fill up one of these with like a ton of sketches or something. And like I respect that. It's just never really worked well for me. Like I think my career, like early on in my career, like I had jobs that just needed everything yesterday. So I never had a lot of time to kind of like have that like marinating period where like you're just kind of like seeing what happens. It's just like, bam, this needs to happen now. So like I kind of like evolved like my design thinking to where like my sketches happen like in my head, like during like kickoff meetings or like mood board reviews. Like I'm knowing like what I want to do then and there. So like I just hop into Illustrator and try to start making it happen. Every now and then I'll get into sketching on an iPad. That's kind of something new for me, but I've got a couple of buddies that they swear by really loose sketches before showing the client. They're like, hey, like we're gonna make this badge and it's gonna be this kind of scene here. And like they're really shitty, like just like horrible sketches, and like it's just funny, and the clients are okay seeing this. And apparently the answer is yes, because then like once you show them like the fully vectored out goodness, there's just so much shine on it that they're like, oh yeah, we like this.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, because that's exactly how I do. I show them like a shitty sketch of a basic concept, and some clients will be like, oh, like that's great, because they already can see the vision that's in my head because they've seen my work. But then there are others that are like, well, I thought it was gonna be like bold with black lines and a black background. I'm like, that was a sketch, bro. Like I literally just drew on my iPad with that. Like but I'm one of those people to where it's like, man, I have to sketch it out on paper or my iPad first before I go into Illustrator, because I can't fly blind like that. But it's crazy. Like, I admire the fact that you can. Like, most designers can't do that, and I think your work speaks for itself.
Thanks, man. It's a lot of trial and error, really messy artboards. The artboards probably look like sketchbooks because there's just stuff kind of scattered everywhere. But yeah, thanks, dude.
You just built out a type recently, right?
Yeah, so I did that 36 days of type torture experiment.
Yeah, I remember seeing all of these different letters every single day, and I was really enjoying it. I could not wait to see the final product on your whole Instagram, and then it was gone with a post saying basically like, well, those are all gone.
Yeah, well, like, what was happening, and you know, not that I really I don't know, not that like I really give in to like the algorithm gods, but like it was kind of like fucking things up for me, like like engagement wise. And then like if I had anybody reach out to me, you know, for like a potential project, you know, they're just seeing all these letters and like,
yeah, and they're not gonna scroll. They're not gonna scroll twice, you know.
Right. So, you know, like it's funny, like the letter A, like the very first letter that I posted is just like mad engagement, like, you know, comments and this and that, like everything that makes you feel good about social media, right? And then,
absolutely.
you know, get to like the letter U, which is like super boring. And you're just like, man, like nobody gives a damn about this like whatsoever anymore. And yeah, so like I took them all down, and I'm building out the typeface. I'm just really slow at it because this is like the first legit one that I've done where I'm going in and like, you know, like kerning letter pairs and, you know, whatnot. So it's kind of taking me a little bit longer. I can't crank them out like some people can, but I think it'll be worth it once I'm finally done with it.
Yeah, because it was a sick font. You know, it's
Thanks, man.
It's different. It's kind of like what kind of font would you consider that to be? Kind of like dingbat style, or
it's definitely more of a display typeface. You know, it's got like that little bit of like westernness to it because of like those big ass like flares. It's kind of like a reverse stress slab serif, I think is how you might officially classify it. But
yeah, because I remember there was one post that one letter that you posted and it was like, man, this one you think it would be really easy, but it was actually really challenging. I think it was like maybe a 1 or an H. It was something that was very kind of straightforward.
Yeah, I don't remember. I did a process video on the H because like what I was trying to do, I was trying to keep them to like no more than 20 minutes, you know, like I'd hop up in the morning and try to crank one out before work, or
that's cool.
you know, or just like I didn't want to like stress and like I don't know, scrutinize too much for an Instagram post, but I've definitely been scrutinizing over the actual font, so we'll see.
I mean, I can't wait to see that one.
I've never put out a font personally, but I know that it's really popular within the industry. And I mean, there's also so many people who have like font families. They have a whole list of fonts and they just have it on their shop. And that's been a pretty successful part of their income and what's the word? Reoccurring income, because they get to just sit, do their work, and then one day someone come online and buy their font and do it again, do it again, do it. If you have that successful of a business, and you know, it sounds like it's the best kind of product you can offer, but I've yet to tackle that task because I know how demanding or intensive the projects are when it comes to how detailed every letter is.
Yeah, it gets kind of gnarly, but I'm sure either one of you would crush it. You know, I'm big fans of y'all's work too, but yeah, there's a lot of awesome stuff. There's a lot of awesome stuff going on in type now. Like I feel like a lot more designers are just cranking out typefaces versus, you know, like actual like, you know, typographers or foundries that are just kind of like known for doing that. Now you've got, you know, people that are killer illustrators just like, hey, I'm gonna put out this font.
I've always been kind of intimidated by it.
Yeah.
You know, intimidated by it. Yeah, just because I feel like I could do it. I just don't know. The consistency is what I'm scared of, I guess, Whereas like,
Mhm.
you know, you have to build out all of these letters with, you know, and numbers and all that stuff. It's, I don't know. Me and Cole, we were talking about making like a custom Pentool Pals typeface and kind of selling it
That'd be
somewhere,
cool.
or at least like giving it away for free or something like that. But
Mhm.
uh, as soon as I said it, I went fearful. It's always been like like a, I've always thought it was above me, but maybe I'm just overthinking it, like everything else in my
Yeah.
life.
I hear you there, man. Chronic overthinker for sure.
Yeah.
Well,
It's just
Matt,
it's one of those things in my head to where I'm thinking like, do I want to take on this other project that, you know, could possibly just be taking up a lot of my time away from my like paid jobs and all that stuff, but it'll happen. It'll happen. I think that
Yeah,
it would be good for me to learn something new in Illustrator, but also as a designer to kind of like level up in that area.
totally, man.
Yeah. How did
well,
you, so kind of taking it back a little bit. So Stay Gray Pony Boy, this alias of yours that has become kind of so big. How did you get started?
Um, how did I get started in design, or with that name, or
Just
both?
both. Kind of, you know, you can start. Let's start with, where did you start in design?
Um, yeah, man, I've been designing for a long ass time now. Uh, and yeah, I kind of stumbled into it. Like, I think a lot of people stumble into graphic design.
Mhm.
I feel like there's a lot of crossovers between like music and design, and you know, I was kind of like resident designer for you know, like a band that I was in back in college. So I was doing a little bit of design there, and then like the major that I was in before I switched over to design was kind of like adjacent or had like a little bit of overlap, and I just kind of like fell into it like on accident, really. I didn't like what I was majoring in at the time, and but I'd spent a lot of time in that particular major, and you know, just kind of had to get out of it. Had to talk with a couple of professors, and you know, like they suggested, you know, like graphic design, which I didn't even think was a thing.
Yeah.
And you know, I packed all my stuff up and walked across campus to like this other building and pretty much started from scratch. And you know, I was kind of learning as I was going, because I was doing stuff on the side, just like very you know, very terrible stuff. Like I actually ran across like an old press kit that I had made for like our band, like way back in the day. I ran across one of those this weekend while I was hanging out with a buddy.
Oh,
And
nice.
it's just like really embarrassing. Like whenever you come across something that you did like, you know, like 10 or 12 years ago, and you're just
Yeah.
yeah.
like, oh God, that's
Yeah, I feel
horrible.
that. I just recently, someone I designed a logo for like 9 years ago. It was probably one of my very first logos. I saw that
Hmm.
they were still using it, and I'm like, how did I make something so awful? It's just,
Well,
yeah,
and it's funny too because like you're proud of it at the time.
yeah,
You're just like, man, but like it is really cool to kind of look back though and like see how you've evolved, because like I mean like I knew nothing back then, and you
mhm,
know like I still like I'm thankful for what I know now, but like you know like even this far into it, like I'm stoked to still keep like learning. You know, like I feel like whenever you hit a wall and you kind of stagnate and you think you have it all figured out is whenever you probably don't really have it all figured out.
mhm.
But
Yeah, I've gotten my ass kicked a bunch of times, like metaphorically. You know, really,
it's
like
fair.
I botched a job so bad that this guy was like, "Give me back my $50." But, no, like I've looked back at like old things and, you know, how I used to be kind of like this. I remember the first time I made over $100 and I was like, this is it, man. I'm the best designer in the
Yeah.
world. Yeah. Like, and I would go around different events, like creative events. Like I was hot shit for selling a logo and shit like that. And it's just like young creative mentality. And then it's like when you start to actually look at it as something that you want to do professionally, you know, leave your day job and all that stuff, that's when it really kicks you in the ass. To where when I started my day job in design, like
Hmm.
the metaphorical ass kicking began. I was like, I
Yeah.
don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I went to college and they don't teach you, they don't teach you, you know, the design world things and the things that come with it. Like I started this job and it was just like, whoa, like, what are you doing, dude? Like, you don't know shit. I was yelled at by my manager a few times, like common sense design things now where I think, well, that was just a young buck back in that time.
Right. Yeah, it's funny, man. Like school is great, and like I had a ton of fun, but at the same time, I always learned so much more like on the job, just actually being like in, just kind of like, I don't know, just like thrown to the fire, and it's just like, all right, figure it out, like
Yeah.
you're like once your livelihood depends on it, you figure shit out really quickly.
Oh, yeah.
And
That's
take
for
it a lot more seriously.
So when was that period for you when it went from making designs for your band that turned into either Stay Great Pony Boy, or was that later on in your transition from or your design career?
Yeah, so like the design stuff that you guys have seen, that like I've kind of put out over the past like few years, however long it's been now. I'm really only active on Instagram. Like I should probably branch out to other forms of social media, but like Instagram's always been pretty good to me. But yeah, Stay Great Pony Boy, like that name didn't really come until like after about like good handful of years in the industry. I like once I graduated college, I worked a handful of jobs, like kind of like figuring out like what path I wanted to take with design. Like we didn't really have like a focus. Like it was just a very broad graphic design degree, and like you might have gotten like one class in identity, one class in illustration, a class in typography. Like there was no real focus. So a lot of that focus had to come from like trial and error and doing different jobs and hopping around, something that's kind of usually frowned upon. But like it helped me figure out like what I wanted to do, because like I mean design is just such a broad term.
Totally.
It's very tough to like compartmentalize it whenever you're just kind of like staring out into the abyss of it. So I was an in-house designer for a while at a publication company. Like my very first job was just thrown into InDesign. I probably didn't open InDesign my entire college career. Like it was just 120 page book in this program I've never opened. So like I had publication experience. I worked at an agency. I did it all before like I finally started figuring out like, okay, I'm really liking the branding and identity world, and like that's where I want to shift my focus. And I kind of wanted to be more of like I was kind of like tired of being a jack of all trades, master of none. So I really just dug in to branding and identity, and started doing logos for whoever would let me do one for them. I was doing logos for a 6-pack of beer, a dinner, like a concert ticket or something. And like that was back in like 2015 that I think I really started hitting logos hard, and like it's just grown and grown and grown every year to the point where I kind of just became known as being like the logo guy. Like literally what not my words, other people's words. They'd be like, oh, like you did this for so and so, like you're the logo guy, right? And I just built like a ton of brands for like clients both large and small the past few years, and it's been great. And like that's kind of that's probably the work that you've seen and know. It was tough to pick a username. Like maybe in hindsight, I would have tried to just get my own name, but like I never wanted to be Dawson Design or anything like that. So like Gray is like a family name, and I just took that Stay Gold Pony Boy line, threw the color gray on it, and I've stuck with it now. And there's too much equity to change it now, so I'm just gonna stick with it despite feeling a little silly sometimes.
You've created kind of a unique alias, because the typical designer does go for, and I'm one of those, like I had Canvas Wear when I was 18, and it kind of evolved into Canvas Design Company. I just went in the direction that everybody else was going in and put design company or design studio or whatever. But you did something, you built your own alias as a design, as a logo and identity design agency, in a sense, under the name Stay Gray Ponyboy, which is a cool name. Like, I've always enjoyed your name, but it's just funny for me to hear that you're thinking, oh, sometimes I think it's silly and all that stuff. But
yeah, I almost wish the opposite. I wish I had created some sort of equity within a name, mainly because at this point I've almost capped myself to a client coming into my Instagram page, because they know that they're going to get Cole Friedman doing the design for them, instead of one day where I'd hope to have some sort of agency and maybe 5 designers under me that I'm creative directing in some sort of role. And then at this point, if they had that under Cole F Design, they'd be like, well, why are you passing me off to Brad or Chad?
Yeah,
it is kind of a double-edged sword. I can totally see where you're coming from. I think it just kind of depends on like what you really want out of it. Like I think a lot of the times, like one of the problems with the alias is that people might think that you're bigger than you actually are.
Yeah.
And then they realize like, oh, it's just this one person.
But is that a bad thing?
No, like I don't think it's a bad thing necessarily. And like I've never tried to really position myself as anything more than kind of like just like transparent, like one. It's just me doing this stuff kind of thing. So I don't know, but I could see if you lean into like your personal name, it's kind of weird whenever you finally start to scale. It's just like you get Brad and Chad on your team.
Yeah, exactly. I made a separate Instagram. Well, I took my kind of clothing brand name Canvas Wear, and I changed it. Changed everything over. So I just started posting a lot of stuff over at Canvas Design Company's Instagram. But even then, sometimes that comes to bite me in the ass, because it's like I'm posting, too much, or I'm posting the same design on both channels. So I've had to kind of like lean into just posting jobs over on the one. But at the same time, like people do, they forget where I'm at. Like, is it Cam doing all of this design, or is it Canvas Design Company having a team? And so then when the demand comes in, they think like a bunch more people are on it. And it's like, guys, it's just me over here. Like, I can't do a one-day turnaround anymore. I've got all these other projects and stuff like that. So like Cole, what you were saying, it's like the part where it's like you kind of gear yourself to look more of an agency, that does come to bite you in the ass sometimes.
Yeah, I've always wondered if I wanted to create like a secondary email, like and have it say like lisa@colefdesign.com, so that way when someone messages me, it's like Lisa saying it, and she gets to say, Cole's really busy right now, like he'll get back to you.
Would be awesome.
And he'll get back to you in a little bit. And then maybe like Lisa can take the blame for some stuff too. So that way I'm like, oh, Lisa never gave me this email, so sorry. Vice versa.
Nice. You're giving away all the secrets right now, Cole.
Well, luckily it's just designers listening to this. Like, I guarantee you my clients and my friends, they don't give a shit about this podcast. So we can say anything.
No, be careful. We do want to protect yourself when it comes to this stuff,
totally.
But
that's a joke.
Don't take that to heart, because especially maybe at the beginning of the episode we start telling how great our clients are, and then like they'll stop. It's like, have you heard of those posts that are like geared for like boyfriends or girlfriends, and then so they're like are saying like what they did for shopping some days, and they're like, all right, now that the boyfriend's not reading anymore,
this one's for the boys.
Exactly. It's like kind of one of those things. I've been following your work for a long time, Matt, and always been a huge fan of it. You've really inspired a lot of my artwork as well. I feel like we have some similarity in design, and I'm really inspired by a lot of your work and your cleanliness. And I would go as far to say as your perfection of design. You have a lot of amazing work. So I don't know if Cam had said anything about preparing work to show, or if you'd want to share any projects, or we could just go through your Instagram page and go through any of them together. The choice is totally up to you, or any ideas in mind as well.
Let's well, first, I really appreciate you saying that. That means a lot. That's awesome, man. I think I don't know, it's crazy how many people have been able to meet through like, something as scary as sharing work, but it's been awesome, and I'm glad people get to enjoy it. I'm glad I get to see so much rad stuff as well. Gotcha. We could hop through Instagram there if y'all just want to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you want? I can share my screen and scroll myself, or if you have specific projects that you want to click on, you can share your screen. Totally up to you.
Let's just wing it, and you can scroll through, and I'll just
Cool.
whatever we land on and talk about.
Word.
Right on. Yeah. So I don't know if there's any projects that pop out to you, Matt, that you want to talk about, but there's plenty that I'd love to know the background of. I know that we talked about beer earlier, so it'd be cool to chat about this one, or
yeah,
we can kind of.
This one was pretty fun. This was like a weird, kind of like 2020. Shit, I don't know the right word. What I wanted to say was a little too dark, but Vista Brewing is a brewery here in Austin, and they make really awesome beer. And we were supposed to, start out on like this huge, really expansive kind of like partnership last year. They do a lot of live events out at their property, and it just ended up, it was going to just be like this monstrous kind of thing that we were going to try to do together. And then like 2020 kind of like, I don't know, it fucked everything up pretty good in the event space. And like brewers definitely had to scramble to kind of like figure out what they were doing, like from making hand sanitizer to providing,
right.
I don't know, water for people. Just try, like, I don't know. Brewers had it tough last year. But nonetheless, like once they did bounce back, like we pumped the brakes on like the big thing. But once they did bounce back, I'm really glad that they still wanted to work with me. So like they came back later in the year after things kind of like normalized for them a little bit, and
Cool.
they wanted to kind of like continue their relationship into like some merch pieces. So like I did a bunch of different lockups and kind of like reimaginings of not so much their logo, like they're kind of like interchanging the way some things are used now, which is kind of cool. Nothing against their previous logo or their whatever, but it's been nice making merch for them. They actually just got a big ass like Airstream trailer, and I'm kind of like applying some of these same graphics to that. They're gonna have it out. They're gonna have it on site kind of like semi-permanently, but they bought a really rad old like International Scout.
Cool.
So they're gonna tow the trailer with the Scout. Hopefully, I think the Scout's in pretty good condition. I think it'll tow a huge ass trailer, but so right now I'm continuing to work with them, and get some graphics on those vehicles for them. And I hadn't been out there in forever, since pre-COVID. So I'd gone out there recently one evening, and finally got to snag one of these glasses. But yeah,
awesome.
Beer space is fun. Like we said earlier, so much fun.
For anyone watching who isn't familiar with your work, I'm gonna kind of just like click through a couple and see a bit more of your work.
I love that lockup before, like the little brand kit right there.
The Watsons.
Yeah,
sorry.
It's so clean and just everything works so well with each other. Like I love this.
The perfect W within the spatula.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice.
So clever.
Yeah, that one kind of built itself. That W. I literally saw like the W like in a spatula, which sounds really cheesy when I say it out loud, but like I was just like at my own grill, and I was like, oh, you know what? I bet you I can make a little spatula mark for this
Hell yeah.
Waltons project.
I love it when it just comes together like that. But I mean, your lockups are so clean. I mean, it's awesome, awesome to see. This was also a project that caught my eye. Super nice.
Yeah, I got a chance to work with the Braves a couple of times. I used to live in Atlanta, and I mean, I've been a lifelong Braves fan since I was a kid. So like getting to work with them was like definitely like a highlight.
Yeah, I can imagine.
They're doing like a poster series. I think the Portland Trailblazers did it. Kind of did it first, where like each home game they had a different artist do a poster for the series, and you know, they'd throw it up on like the huge screens, and they'd be all around like the stadium. So it was kind of surreal to get to go check that out.
I bet, man.
That's amazing. Yeah, I just admire your lockups. Like, these are so cool and all perfect. You crush it.
I knew you were gonna click on this one too.
How could you not? I mean, every single, like, as a client, I would have no idea how I would choose from a batch like this.
Luckily, you just end up using all of them for different things.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of nice to create like I love like the simplicity and the discipline that it takes to like use and stick with like a very simple and singular mark.
Yeah.
But you know, like as a designer, I mean, like it's fun to like try to build out these expansive brand universes, and I don't know, like I'm a sucker for building badges. I'm glad you dig them, because like it's probably like my favorite thing to design are badges. So it's been a work in progress for years, trying to get things just right.
Absolutely.
I can honestly say that, you know, because I love building badges too, and your profile is definitely one that I seek for like inspiration, because like just the way that you can make a badge look is just so eye-catching to me.
Thanks, dude.
And I mean, building a badge is not as easy as just building a badge. I mean, especially when you have something so simple, you have to create these unique shapes to make it stand out from the rest of the crowd,
100%.
rather than just having a circle or something. So I think that you do that so well, is, you know, finding these awesome unique shapes, whether it be this pan here or how you locked up this county type, you know, the circle, and having these little flares within it, and having the type fit so perfectly, your line work, everything.
Yeah.
So
they're a delicate balance, man. Like they're like little, I don't know, it's like puzzles trying to like work them out in your head. Sketching probably.
I was gonna ask your process for that. I know that you said that you go straight to digital, similar to what I do, and that your artworks are always crazy and messy, similar to mine as well. Is there a method to the madness when it comes to building badges, or you know, just talk us through how your process works?
You know, it just depends on it depends on how much information has to be in it. I think probably the easiest badge format is probably the circle. But you know, it's kind of nice to break out of that a little bit too. Like I think like my favorite kind of badges to build are like the kind of like elongated ovals. I've got a hand. Like, they don't always.
There it is.
Yeah, something kind of like that. Yeah. But yeah, it just really depends on like how much information and content you have to fit within the composition. And you know, like you kind of start seeing where the holes could be, and like where things might like balance out nicely.
Even in your branding, I mean, you find your way to build out more enhanced badge work in some sort of unified graphic. I mean, these are super locked up as well. Everything has its perfect place for each of the items.
You have impeccable balance, and you have an impeccable eye for balance.
Man, it's not without years of working at it and trial and error though. So it's kind of but yeah, like I think that's one of the things about like working in publication and publishing is like hierarchy, like learning about hierarchy and like how
Yeah.
things need to be read. I feel like that's helped me a lot, like in completely different areas of design. But
Yeah. And that's one thing that a lot of designers, like especially up and coming designers, like in their first years, they're not taught, you know, different hierarchy and like, you know, that balance of it and stuff. So everything's all sloppy. I know I've definitely gone through and are still like going through, you know, what is important in a design. How should this layout be? What needs to take up the most attention? Where is everything strategically placed? But, you know, over
sure.
time, you just kind of learn a certain balance. Like I'm a huge symmetry guy, and that's only because I've looked at so many other designs that I've done to where they were off and lopsided and all that stuff, and I really beat myself up for it for a long time, to where it's like, you know, really had to dive in and be like, all right, so how is this going to look straightforward? Can I flip it? Is it going to be the same exact on the opposite side? And you know, it's just a lot of years of, you know, just kind of really diving in and, you know, practicing, getting better. This
I
is
remember
this
this.
lockup is amazing.
I remember this
Uh,
one like blew up the internet. Like I swear I saw it on every page
Yep.
everywhere.
yeah, that one, yeah, I remember that one being pretty well received. Yeah, and that was just a passion project. That was just something for fun because I think I had like a sticker mule discount or something and wanted to make
Cool.
some neat things. And then like I ended up making enamel pins out of like the little Grim Reaper
Mhm.
illustration. So yeah, that one was just for fun. But yeah, I mean, you got to do stuff like that too every now
Oh
and
yeah.
then.
Of course.
I
And
just put in an order with Sticker Mule today. I love them.
Oh yeah,
I wanted to ask you a bit about crop cons.
Yeah, here we go.
oh yeah,
You know, it shows on your bio that you are the founder.
yeah, yeah.
Do you want
So
to talk a little about?
yeah, have either guys ever been to one?
I haven't.
No.
Well, we'll have to change that next year.
Yeah.
Yeah, Crop is a creative conference that I started back in 2016, and you know, we put on these 2 to 3 day creative events where it's keynotes and workshops and parties, and we used to do pre-COVID. We would do 2 a year. We would do like a
Yeah.
big one in the spring, and then we would do kind of like a traveling one each fall to where like we'd hit up a different city
Mhm.
and kind of like do like a smaller, more punctuated version. But yeah, like, events have always kind of like been like in my, you know, like in my DNA. Like I love um putting on events. It's just it's another different kind of puzzle to figure out.
Yeah, totally.
Um but you know, like I feel very fortunate that I've kind of got a knack for it. And like with Crop, like we've just built a really, I feel like we've built a really awesome and like genuine community to where um like you guys talk about like selfishly you get to talk and meet with people, you know, like I feel super lucky that I've gotten to meet so many people through producing Crop. But
Totally.
yeah, COVID kind of messed up our 5 year anniversary.
I
And
saw
then
that.
we didn't get to do it this year. But we've got the dates set for next year.
Oh yeah.
And we're going to be hitting it hard here soon. It's going to be April 28th through 30th, 2022, which feels weird to say because it's so
Yeah,
far away.
really. Well,
But
we'll Cole and I, we will make it a point to go be a part of that, or at least just be
Absolutely.
there, present. Because
Absolutely.
yeah, I want to be more a part. That's another reason why like this podcast exists, is because Cole and I, we just kind of want to be a part of the design community a little bit more.
yep.
And I think going to events like that, not as, you know, not as Pentool pals, I just want to go and be a part of, you know, a community of designers just trying to go be together. But
I'm just saying,
I think events like that are just really important for like networking for, you know, designers like us, just to get to know each other.
absolutely.
Totally.
And I remember hearing or seeing about CropCon for the first time with when you had the badge contest. and basically you had like every amazing artist out there create an amazing badge for it. That was blowing up the internet in itself. That was just super cool to see. I mean, you have definitely amassed a very cool group of people and talented group of artists to attend this and also, be a part of it. And me and Cam recently have actually said how the more people that we have on the show, the more we want to do some sort of in-person thing, reunion, whatever it may be. So if that ever happens, you will definitely have an invite. And
100%. It's looking more like a retreat, but we'll see if that happens. Is there anything you'd like to talk about before we, zoom off into the night?
I don't know, man. This has just been a nice break, just getting to kind of chat with you two. So I don't know. We've covered most everything. It's just been I don't know. It's been good. Like I said, I feel like this week's had 2 Mondays.
Yeah. I feel that like all day I've been kind of like stressed, just working on different projects. And like you said, this has been a nice little break to kind of chat and all that stuff. I just want to say, dude, thank you, Matt, so much for coming on the podcast. And it's been really nice just getting to talk to you about how you started Stay Great Pony Boy and all that.
Awesome, man. Yeah, it's been great getting to share it with you guys. I appreciate y'all having me on.
You're welcome anytime. And thanks for being a pal, Matt.
Yeah, thank you for being a pal, Matt.
Likewise. Bye, guys.
Bye.